Why do we so often recoil from what would set us free? The answer lies in a paradox, one that hides in plain sight. Consistency, the simple act of showing up again and again, is the most radical force against a world drowning in distraction and chaos. Yet, we resist it instinctively. We crave comfort, novelty, and instant gratification, while the slow, steady path of persistence feels like a burden, even a punishment. But what if that resistance is exactly what keeps us trapped? What if the very thing we avoid, the steady drumbeat of consistency, is the gateway to an unshakable truth, and with it, real freedom? Across the ages, philosophers have understood this in ways our restless minds often forget. The Stoics taught that discipline and repeated effort forge the soul. They believed that freedom is not a fleeting burst of passion, but the quiet mastery born from relentless practice. Existentialists, too, whispered of authentic living, a life not dictated by whim, but crafted patiently, moment by moment, choice by choice. Psychology reveals the mechanisms of this resistance. Our brains are wired to seek pleasure immediately, to dodge discomfort, and to recoil from delayed rewards. The lure of distraction, the appeal of comfort, these are evolutionary pulls that now clash with the demands of modern life. We are creatures caught between ancient survival instincts and the need for sustained, focused effort. Even ancient wisdom traditions, long before the internet and smartphones, praised steadfastness. They warned that in the chaos of endless information and temptation, only those who embrace consistency could hope to discern truth. So why do we resist what makes us free? Because freedom demands discomfort. It requires us to deny ease and face the slow grind of persistence. This tension between ease and effort, comfort and growth, is the battleground on which our deepest truths are fought. Understanding this paradox is the first step toward a transformation, one that begins with a single question. Will you resist, or will you commit to becoming unbreakable? Consistency is more than a mere routine. It is the unforgiving mirror that reveals our true selves. Day after day, the choices we repeat, no matter how small, become the brushstrokes painting the portrait of who we are beneath the surface. In this relentless reflection, no facade can be maintained, no illusion preserved. Consistency exposes the cracks in our self-image, the hidden shadows we often refuse to face. Our minds are adept at crafting stories, narratives designed to protect us from discomfort and maintain our fragile sense of identity. We convince ourselves that we are someone we aspire to be, while daily habits quietly betray that illusion. It is only through persistent, repeated action that we can peel back these layers of self-deception. Each day's choices serve as data, points, a truth serum that dissolves the masks worn in public and the justifications whispered in private. Psychology offers profound insights into this process. The science of habit formation shows how behaviors, repeated often enough, become automatic, etched deep into the brain's wiring through neuroplasticity. This rewiring is not merely physical, it changes how we see ourselves and how the world perceives us. Yet this transformation is rarely comfortable. It forces us to confront our shadow self, those parts hidden in darkness, repressed fears, unresolved conflicts, and uncomfortable desires that our conscious mind avoids. Philosophers from Marcus Aurelius to Nietzsche understood this inner struggle intimately. Marcus Aurelius wrote that true power lies in self-discipline and mastering one's inner world, not external conquests. Nietzsche's concept of becoming who you truly are demands relentless self-honesty and the courage to break free from societal expectations. Both saw consistency as the crucible where authentic identity is forged. This path is far from easy. It calls for a sustained effort that resists the temptation to retreat into comforting illusions or fleeting distractions. Every repeated action is a test, a question posed to the self. Who are you when no one is watching? Are you the person you claim to be, or someone shaped by convenience and denial. In this crucible, consistency becomes a form of radical truth-telling. It compels us to accept ourselves fully, not just the polished parts we present, but the messy, unfinished, and contradictory whole. It exposes the distance between who we are and who we want to become, providing the raw material for genuine growth. The journey inward is a confrontation with uncomfortable truths, but it is also the only path to true mastery over oneself. Without consistency, self-awareness remains shallow, a fleeting insight that fades when tested by life's challenges. With it, self-mastery becomes possible, revealing an unbreakable core beneath the shifting surface of identity. From the broad paradox of resisting consistency to this intimate exploration of self, the journey deepens. The mirror held up by persistence forces us to reckon with our deepest fears and desires, setting the stage for a transformation that is both profoundly personal and universally human. In the quiet surrender to comfort, society finds its greatest weapon. The resistance to consistency, our innate craving for ease and distraction, becomes the fertile ground upon which power structures cultivate control. It is no accident that comfort and conformity walk hand in hand, masking the mechanisms that suppress truth and fracture collective will. Power has always sought to harness the human desire for comfort, transforming it into a tool for domination. When the repetitive discipline of consistency threatens to reveal inconvenient truths, systems of control shift the terrain. They replace the pursuit of deeper meaning with curated illusions, an endless stream of distractions designed to fragment attention and erode the possibility of sustained focus. Consider the machinery of propaganda, a subtle but devastating force. Throughout history, totalitarian regimes have perfected the art of manufacturing consent by weaving false narratives and enforcing cultural conformity. The relentless repetition of controlled messages conditions societies to accept a constructed reality. Individual critical thought becomes a dangerous deviation, punished or silenced. The comfort of unquestioning belief, of belonging to a simplified narrative, becomes a gilded cage. In the modern age, these tactics have evolved, but remain fundamentally the same. Consumerism, cloaked in the promise of happiness and fulfillment, seduces the masses with fleeting pleasures. Every purchase, every click, becomes a small surrender to external influence. The repetitive cycle of desire and consumption dulls the mind's capacity for critical reflection. Consistency in seeking truth is replaced by impulsive gratification. Technology, particularly social media and algorithm-driven platforms, accelerates this dynamic. Algorithms are designed not to inform or enlighten, but to captivate, to keep us scrolling through a fragmented reality where focus shatters into endless fragments. They exploit cognitive biases, reinforcing comfort zones and echo chambers, making it harder than ever to maintain the steady practice of self-awareness and truth-seeking. This fragmentation fractures collective consistency, the shared rituals, values and commitments that bind societies together in pursuit of common truths and justice. When attention splinters, collective power dissipates. Without a unified focus, movements for genuine change struggle to take root and flourish. History offers chilling examples. Nazi Germany wielded propaganda with terrifying effectiveness, manipulating comfort and fear to suppress dissent and solidify control. The Soviet Union employed similar tactics, using cultural conformity and misinformation to maintain an iron grip on society. These regimes understood that the true threat to power was not violence alone, but the awakening of consistent critical thought among the populace. Today, the echoes of these patterns reverberate in the pervasive influence of mass media and digital platforms. The relentless churn of sensational headlines, polarized debates, and curated realities serves to overwhelm the mind and discourage the sustained inquiry necessary for genuine understanding. Yet, awareness of these forces is the first step toward resistance. Recognizing how comfort is weaponized to suppress truth reveals the urgent need to reclaim consistency, not just individually but collectively. It challenges us to resist the seductive pull of distraction and conformity, to cultivate spaces where truth can be pursued with unwavering dedication. This societal illusion of comfort is not benign. It is a calculated strategy to maintain the status quo, to keep questioning minds fragmented and compliant. But beneath this facade lies a fissure, an opening for those willing to endure discomfort and embrace consistency as a path to liberation. The external obstacles to truth and self-mastery are formidable but not insurmountable. They demand a vigilance that extends beyond personal discipline into the realm of social awareness and collective action. To awaken is to confront these forces head-on, to pierce the veil of manufactured comfort and reclaim the power that consistency offers. From the intimate journey of self-mastery, the path now widens to the societal battlefield. The stage is set for a deeper exploration of how entrenched power resists change, and how, through consistent effort and critical thought, truth can reclaim its place amid the noise. The resistance begins here, not only within ourselves, but against the illusions that seek to bind us all. Discomfort is a flame. It burns, it sears, it threatens to consume everything in its path. Yet, within this very fire lies a paradox. The same blaze that destroys also purifies. Consistency, that relentless demand to show up, to endure, to persist, is a trial by fire. It forces us to face the raw, unvarnished reality of ourselves and the world, a reality often obscured by the seductive warmth of comfort. The fire of resistance is not merely a metaphor, it is a psychological crucible. Neuroscience reveals that our brains are wired to seek pleasure and avoid pain, comfort, and ease. The amygdala, the seat of our emotional responses, triggers alarm at discomfort, urging retreat. Yet growth, true transformation, requires a tolerance of this discomfort, a willingness to remain present in the fire rather than fleeing it. This ability to endure hardship without losing oneself is what psychologists call resilience. Resilience is not an innate trait but a skill developed through repeated exposure to challenge, much like a muscle strengthened by resistance. Each moment of discomfort faced consistently builds neurological pathways that increase our capacity to tolerate pain, uncertainty, and struggle. This neurological rewiring is the foundation upon which consistency reveals deeper truths about our limits, our fears, and our potential. Eastern philosophies have long recognized the purifying power of suffering. The Buddha taught that suffering is inseparable from existence, and that enlightenment arises not from escaping pain, but from understanding and transcending it. Similarly, Stoicism, the ancient philosophy that champions discipline and inner strength, sees hardship as a necessary forge for virtue. Marcus Aurelius urged us to love the hand that fate deals, to embrace adversity as the pathway to wisdom and freedom. In this crucible of discomfort, the illusion of control shatters. We confront the unpredictability of life and our own vulnerability. This confrontation awakens a profound clarity, one that comfort obscures. It reveals the narratives we cling to, the masks we wear, and the conditioned responses that keep us trapped. Through consistent endurance of this fire, the ego's illusions are burned away, leaving behind a raw and authentic self. Contemporary psychology echoes these ancient truths in the concept of the growth mindset, the belief that abilities and intelligence can be developed through dedication and effort. It is the persistent effort, the daily return to the struggle, that catalyzes lasting change. Similarly, studies on post-traumatic growth show that individuals who engage with their suffering consciously often emerge stronger, with a renewed sense of purpose and self-awareness. Yet, the fire is not merely an individual trial. It is a universal human experience. To resist comfort is to resist the easy narratives fed by society. to challenge the complacency that systems of control depend upon. This resistance is often lonely and painful, as it sets us apart from the crowd lulled by distraction and superficial pleasure. But within this pain lies liberation. To endure the fire of resistance is to step into a timeless tradition of seekers who have chosen truth over ease, authenticity over illusion. It is the moment where persistence transcends habit and becomes a sacred act of rebellion against the forces that bind us. This is the climax of the struggle, the turning point where discomfort is no longer enemy, but ally, where the burning sensation becomes a signal of transformation rather than defeat. In the fire's glow, clarity emerges. The hard-won truths gained through consistency illuminate a path forward, one marked not by escape, but by engagement with the full spectrum of human experience. Embracing this fire demands courage, patience, and an unwavering commitment to the journey. It means understanding that the price of freedom is discomfort, that the road to self-mastery is paved with moments of pain and doubt, yet it also promises a power deeper than any fleeting pleasure, the power to know oneself, to see reality unfiltered, and to live with unbreakable resolve. The fire of resistance is the test of all who seek truth. It is a fierce, unforgiving teacher that reveals what lies beneath the surface, and those who choose to stand within its flames are those who become unbreakable. Throughout history, certain individuals have emerged as beacons of relentless consistency. People who refused to bow to comfort, who stood firm in their pursuit of truth, and in doing so became unbreakable. Their stories are not merely tales of endurance. They are blueprints for transformation, showing us how the fire of resistance, when met with unwavering resolve, forges legacies that echo through time. Consider the philosopher Socrates, who chose death over abandoning his commitment to questioning and truth. In a world that demanded conformity and silence, he stood unyielding. His daily practice of inquiry, his insistence on challenging accepted norms, was a radical act of consistency. It was this refusal to surrender that planted the seeds of Western philosophy and inspired countless others to value critical thought above comfort. Fast forward to the 20th century, where the legacy of resistance took on new forms. Think of Nelson Mandela, imprisoned for 27 years, yet steadfast in his vision for a free South Africa. His consistency was not a flashy spectacle, but a daily act of mental discipline, hope, and unshakable faith in justice. Despite the crushing weight of isolation and suffering, Mandela's resistance was a fire that refused to burn out, illuminating a path from oppression to reconciliation. Artists, too, have embodied this principle. Frida Kahlo's life was marked by physical pain and emotional turmoil, yet her daily commitment to her art was a rebellion against despair. Through persistent creation, she transformed personal suffering into a universal language of resilience and truth. Her paintings remain a testament to the power of consistent self-expression in the face of adversity. In the realm of social criticism and whistleblowing, figures like Edward Snowden exemplify the modern embodiment of this unbreakable spirit. Choosing exile over silence, Snowden consistently upheld a commitment to exposing truths about surveillance and government overreach, regardless of the personal cost. His actions disrupt the comfortable narratives fed to the public, compelling us to confront uncomfortable realities about privacy, freedom, and control. These examples share a common thread: consistency as a form of resistance and empowerment. Their journeys were neither linear nor easy. Each faced doubt, betrayal, and immense pressure to conform or give up. Yet they chose the path of persistence, embracing the discomfort and uncertainty that come with standing firm. Philosophically, this mirrors Nietzsche's call to become who you are, a process demanding relentless effort and self-overcoming. It is not about perfection or heroic moments, but about daily acts of courage that accumulate into a profound transformation. This process, repeated over time, shapes identity and carves out spaces of freedom within restrictive systems. Historically, movements that reshaped societies civil rights, women's suffrage, anti-colonial struggles were driven by countless individuals committed to consistency. Their unbroken chains of protest, advocacy, and sacrifice dismantled illusions of power and forged new realities. These collective acts of persistence remind us that consistency is both a personal and communal weapon against oppression. The emotional weight of these stories is profound because they connect abstract principles to human experience: fear, hope, pain, and triumph. They show that resistance is not an abstract ideal, but a lived reality, demanding vulnerability and strength in equal measure. In their legacy, we find a mirror reflecting the possibility within ourselves to resist comfort, to stand in fire, and to become unbreakable. This legacy is a call to action. It asks us to reconsider our own relationship with consistency, not as a chore or burden, but as a radical commitment to truth and freedom. It reminds us that while the path is arduous, it leads to a form of power that no external force can easily extinguish. As we move forward from the crucible of struggle, these stories light the way, proof that unbreakable resolve transcends time, culture, and circumstance. They empower us to envision a future where, through relentless consistency, each of us can become architects of our own liberation, shaping realities grounded in authenticity and courage. The legacy of the unbreakable teaches us that to resist comfort is not to reject life, but to embrace it fully, with all its pain and possibility, and in doing so, to forge a truth that endures beyond ourselves. In an age defined by endless streams of information, relentless notifications, and the ceaseless pull of digital distractions, consistency emerges as a radical act, a defiant refusal to be fragmented, distracted, or subdued. Our hyper-connected world, celebrated for its immediacy and boundless access, often conceals a more insidious reality, a system meticulously engineered to fracture attention, dilute purpose, and foster complacency. To choose consistency today is to reclaim autonomy in a society that thrives on our disarray. This fragmentation is no accident. Power structures, whether political, corporate, or technological, exploit the chaos of distraction to maintain control. When our focus splinters into countless shards, critical thinking and deep reflection are casualties. The culture of immediacy conditions us to crave novelty, shun discomfort, and abandon pursuits the moment rewards seem distant or uncertain. In this context, consistency is a form of resistance, a rebellion against a world that wants us passive, fragmented, and compliant. Philosophers like Theodor Adorno and Herbert Marcuse warned of a one-dimensional society where mass media and consumer culture shape desires and beliefs to serve entrenched power. Their critical theory reveals how distraction dulls resistance by saturating minds with superficial content. Meanwhile, existentialists remind us that authenticity, the courage to define ourselves beyond imposed narratives, demands relentless effort. It is not given, it must be cultivated through persistent choice and sustained action. Psychology offers tools to reclaim this autonomy. Mindfulness, often misunderstood as passive relaxation, is a practice of sharpening attention, anchoring oneself in the present moment amid chaos. Deliberate practice, the cornerstone of mastery, relies on repetition and focused effort, often unseen and unrewarded by external applause. Cognitive sovereignty, the ability to govern one's own thought processes, is a muscle weakened by distraction, but strengthened through intentional consistency. Reclaiming power through consistency means crafting a life where thought, action, and values align persistently over time. It is an act of coherence in a world designed to scatter us. This alignment creates clarity, a mental space where true freedom can flourish. Not freedom as mere choice among endless options, but freedom as self-determination anchored in purpose. This rebellion is not loud or ostentatious. It is the quiet refusal to abandon commitments, the daily renewal of intention against the tide of distraction. It is the discipline to think critically when facile answers beckon, to act with integrity, when shortcuts tempt, and to hold fast to values when social pressure urges compromise. The stakes are high. Without this steadfastness, individuals become malleable, swayed by propaganda, fleeting trends, and engineered desires. Societies become fragmented, incapable of collective action or deep understanding. But with consistency, we ignite a social and personal revolution, one where minds reclaim their sovereignty and communities rebuild trust and meaning. The act of consistency ripples outward. When one person commits to it, they inspire others to question their own patterns. Movements grounded in persistent principles challenge dominant narratives and unsettle power dynamics. This is the promise of consistency as a radical act. It is a seed planted in the fertile ground of chaos, growing into a force that can reshape realities. To embrace consistency is to wield power in its most profound form, the power over one's own mind and life. It is an invitation to step beyond the hypnotic pull of fragmentation, to resist the temptation of comfort disguised as ease, and to forge a path of clarity and freedom. In doing so, we not only reclaim ourselves but also challenge the very structures designed to keep us divided and disempowered. In this fragmented age, consistency is the quiet revolution. It is the radical choice to live deliberately, to think deeply, and to act authentically. It demands courage and persistence, but it offers a prize beyond measure, the reclamation of power, purpose, and the possibility of genuine freedom. This is the mantle waiting for those willing to bear it, an unbreakable commitment to truth in a world desperate for distraction. Truth is not a fixed point, a final destination carved in stone. It is a horizon, ever distant, ever unfolding, revealed only through the ceaseless journey of engagement, reflection, and disciplined persistence. To grasp truth is to embrace movement, to accept that understanding deepens not through certainty, but through continuous questioning and transformation. Consistency, then, is not a burden or a rigid imposition, but a sacred dance with reality itself. In this new paradigm, the act of showing up, day after day, thought after thought, choice after choice, is itself divine. It elevates the mind, beyond mere survival, and catapults society toward authentic freedom. The discomfort we so often flee is transformed into a gateway, a crucible where the human spirit is tempered and refined. Through persistence, what once felt like fragmentation becomes coherence, and what was once hidden in shadow bursts into light. This is the horizon beyond comfort, where resistance becomes awakening, and the struggle to remain consistent is the very pulse of liberation. It is a call to rise above the shallow tides of distraction and to walk the difficult path of truth with unwavering courage. Here we discover that authenticity is not perfection, but the relentless pursuit of being who we are meant to become. The unbreakable human spirit is forged in this fire, resilient, radiant, and free. It is a beacon for those willing to embrace the discomfort of growth and the persistence of truth, lighting the way for generations yet to come. In choosing this path, we do not merely survive, we awaken, we transcend, and we reclaim the profound power of consistency, not as a chain that binds but as wings that set us free.